Hello, welcome to Halo Month. Um, this July is every year to have a month dedicated to Halo. Um, I actually got this script written up last year. Last year I flopped Halo Month as hard as I flopped Star Wars Month this year. Oh well, we'll get into it. I'll go ahead and go over the plot in a sentence. Play as Master Chief as he discovers the mysteries of an ancient ring world. Yeah, I'm not really big into first-person shooters.
Because you're bad at them.
Yeah, mostly. In fact, the less said about my multiplayer skills, the better. But there is something really special about this game's single player.
It must be that dashing, stalwart hero.
You just keep trying, don't you? Yeah, Master Chief really isn't one for words. I think he only talks like 5 or 6 times in the entire first trilogy. The only surviving member of a super soldier program called the Spartan 2 Project. The Spartans wear a special suit of armor called, I'm going to mess this up, Mjolnir armor. This armor is the most advanced military tech ever invented by mankind.
Looks sweet as hell too.
Sources outside of the game say that they spent more on the Spartan 2 program than they would have on an entire fleet of battleships. Yeah, and they only got about 30 Spartans out of the project, so it kind of makes you wonder how much a single suit is worth. He's basically raised from the age of 6 to be the perfect soldier. Unfortunately, this doesn't really show in the game, as he barely gets any characterization at all.
That's what the books are for.
Well, the thing is, I'm not really reviewing the books right now. I'm reviewing the game.
Maybe he is a player insert character.
That is one way of looking at him, but if he was trying to do that, the other characters just can't interact with him too much. But anyway, I really like how the health system works in this game. I really kind of got used to the Halo 3 health system, where if you have a shield bar at the top of your screen, and once your shields are gone, you can just take cover, and their shields will completely regenerate. But in this game, you will have a shield that will regenerate, but you also have these little health point pips underneath it, and those won't regenerate. So you have to go find a health kit in the field. So I really like that mechanic. There's the regenerating shield bar, and there's also hit points you have to worry about. It really gives a layer of challenge in it. Yeah, and the checkpoint system is really not very kind. I got stuck in a loop for a while. I was going along fighting enemies, and hey, there's a tank. Oh, there's a big ball of plasma that smacked me in the face. So hit the checkpoint, reload the checkpoint. Oh, there's a big plasma ball coming, hit me in the face. Yeah, that did happen for a while, and I had to quit out and restart the whole level just because, hey, there's a big plasma fireball hitting me in the face. And when it reloads the checkpoint, it will reload the amount of hit points you had at that respawn point. That's kind of an interesting decision. So if, hey, I'm out of health and respawn, oh shit, I have no health left, I gotta find a med kit. But still, I still like that system where there's a level of regeneration and still have to worry about hit points. And I've been playing a lot of RPGs lately, and it is kind of nice that you can only carry around 2 weapons with you, the 2 types of grenades, but you have to juggle the 2 different kinds of weapons.
Why would you like that?
Well, in a role-playing game, you could come across a missile launcher sitting there and find missiles, and you'll hold on to it until the end credits because, hey, I want to hold this on for something special. But here in this shooter, if you come across a missile launcher, you're probably going to need a missile launcher. It's not just, oh crap, I have to what. And you don't have to go through your inventory of all the hundreds of weapons that you had picked up and all of the different modifier things that you would have to search through it if you had a backpack full of stuff. So it really does streamline a lot of things if having the 2 weapon slots. And the grenades in the game are really quite powerful, although sometimes it takes a while for them to go off. It just feels like they take too long to go off. But once they go off, it's just a big blast of people going everywhere. I remember back when I was a kid that the Master Chief talks so little. It was funny once that my sister was watching me play, and the Chief said something, and it's like, "Oh, I thought he was a girl."
Hee hee hee.
What's wrong with being a girl?
Nothing, but the thing is, his AI partner Cortana takes most of the talking duties for the team. Yeah, Cortana was the artificial intelligence program for the ship called this Pillar of Autumn that you start the game out on, and the protocol dictates that the AI cannot be lost, which is kind of weird. I think that in development they realized they didn't give Chief a whole bunch of lines, so they had to have someone give out exposition. So they just had the AI do it, and it's kind of strange how much leeway that they give to the AI character. It would be different if she just like quipped every once in a while, or analyzed a situation or something. But no, if whenever you run into like a group of Marines fighting, she'll actually dictate orders, and she'll call in the air support or whatever. And it's just kind of strange how much the artificial intelligence is dictating the battlefield stuff, because you'd think that the Master Chief would be taking that role on, but nope, it's Cortana laying down the law. A lot of what she talks about, Master Chief could talk about himself, or come across the enemy talking about something, but no, it's strange that this artificial intelligence program is doing all the talking.
She is important in lore.
Yeah, in lore, she is very important. She brings a lot of depth to the Halo universe. But as far as in-game, Cortana really is a useless character. Not much use for her. Kind of like the 343 Guilty Spark. He's the monitor of the installation. He kind of guards the Halo ring world. When the Forerunners built the Halo ring the thousands of years ago, they left 343 Guilty Spark in charge of it to make sure it was working. Yeah, he really does think really highly of humans, because the Forerunners, when they left, they kind of left everything to humanity. And in the Halo Anniversary Edition, you can find little video clips spread around the game talking about how 343 handled his isolation on the ring. Although he really doesn't do much in game other than unlock some doors.
He's a flying light bulb. What would you expect him to do?
Well, he could have explained himself a little bit better. He spent the last third of the game trying to destroy all life in the galaxy.
What the hell?
But for the majority of the game, you're fighting off the alien collective known as the Covenant, who is a bit scaled back compared to later games. Yeah, in the later games, they add a lot more enemy types. Here, there's just elites, jackals, grunts, and hunters.
What about the prophets? Aren't they the leaders of the Covenant?
In the lore, the prophets are the leader, but in game they're not even mentioned. In the game, the elites are basically the battlefield commanders of the Covenant.
Big shielded, armored bastards.
Yeah, you can really tell that these guys are the ones in charge. They have the best weapons, armor, shielding in the game. And yeah, these guys are the ones taking charge and directing the troops around. And once the elite goes down, the troops tend to scatter. Yeah, and even within the elites, there are several ranks. The most common one you come across is the blue elite. There's also purple ones, and very rarely you'll run into golden elites. And those bastards are tough as hell. They're not like brutes in the later games. In later games, brutes are gradually being phased in to replace the elites. But brutes, when you start shooting at them, they'll just either just stand there and take the hit, or they'll start charging at you to attack. Yeah, these guys will take cover, they'll dodge, they'll direct troops to use tactics to fight you, instead, as opposed to those brutes that just either just stand there while you're shooting at them, or run at you while you're shooting at them. These are, yeah, in my opinion, the elites are the best enemies in the franchise. It would be nice if there was like a rival elite that you could like stand as equal to you, but no, you're just going to shoot all the enemies around. The next one down are called jackals, and these are skinny little bastards. Yeah, they carry around, it's like a hoplite shield. That'll cover their bodies. They can take cover behind, and it's not like the bigger guys who have like shielded armor. These guys just have a shield they can hold in front of them. Yeah, the great thing about the jackals are you have to like outmaneuver them to avoid the shields. Yeah, in later games they act as snipers. Unfortunately, in this game, there's not an alien version of the sniper rifle.
Lame.
Yeah, the lack of weapons does focus the combat, but seriously, there are only like 10 weapons in the entire game, and that's including the 2 grenade types. Yeah, all the jackals just carry plasma pistols, so they're not really all that dangerous, but their shields do lead to some challenges and trying to outmaneuver them, as opposed to the other enemies in the game where you just shoot at them until they fall over. You have to take that shield into account. And the next one down is the grunts, and oh wow, the grunts are fun to shoot.
Wow, that doesn't sound psychopathic at all.
Yeah, and you can unlock a little feature that when you shoot them in the head, kill them with a headshot, there's a little burst of confetti that shouts, "Yay!"
That isn't helping.
Yeah, the grunts are the majority of the enemies you'll fight in the game, and they'll fight rather tenaciously when they have elites backing them up, but they do scatter as soon as their elite goes down. You really do feel like an unstoppable badass when you're taking out whole legions of grunts. The last Covenant enemy of the game is known as the Hunter, and they will paint the wall with your ass. They are 8 to 12 foot tall walking artillery pieces. Yeah, they go around, they have a big cannon on one arm and a big shield on the other, so you have to get behind them to attack them. But if you get too close, they'll just smash you.
Each one of them is a colony of worms.
Yeah, according to the wiki they are, but it really doesn't come up in gameplay. I mean, that would be horrifying. See a big massive worms crawling over and forming up to form a big 12-foot monster with a cannon for an arm. That would be awesome as hell, but I think that's asking a lot for a game that came out in 2001. Unlike when you're fighting grunts, you feel like a different kind of badass when you take one of these out. There's something called the Hunter Dance, right, while you jump around to the back of them to attack their weak point on the back.
While praying that you have enough grenades.
Yeah, that's where the sticky plasma grenade comes in handy. Yeah, there's 2 grenade types in this game. There's the sticky plasma grenade where you throw it and it'll stick to enemy or a vehicle and it'll explode. There's also the just basic fragmentation grenade, just basic human tech grenade. Yeah, there's a couple more enemy types later in the series, but that's all you run into in the Covenant in this game. You know, one of the greatest things about this franchise is the variety of different enemies you fight. And when you first arrive at the Halo ring world, you're under attack by the Covenant, and the Covenant has always been more technologically advanced than the humans. So humans basically lose the first engagement in the game, and you're ordered to abandon ship, and that's how you get onto the Halo ring. Yeah, you're basically going around gathering up other human allies, trying to avoid the Covenant. Unfortunately, the other human forces awaken an ancient evil that was slumbering on the Halo. Yeah, there's something Lovecraftian about how the Flood works. It's an ancient horror that consumes all and turns all of its victims into the legions of death.
Okay, that sounds cool.
In lore, it is really cool. In the game, they're just zombies. Very resistant to melee attacks, so that's kind of annoying. Yeah, I'm not really impressed with the melee attack in this game. You play as a cybernetically enhanced super soldier in over a ton of armor, and when you hit something with your melee attack, you just kind of nudge it out of the way. Yeah, I don't really want to give away what the Halo ring does to the Flood, because that is a really good twist, but the two are really closely linked.
Yeah, they forgot to come up with a reason for one, so they made up the other.
Yeah, it does kind of feel that way. In this game, the Flood comes in 3 main forms, There's the infection form. Think of a 2 foot tall spider balloon made of flesh.
I'd rather not.
Oh, it gets better. They travel in swarms. The next type is called the flood carrier form, where it basically turns a person into a big balloon full of the spider balloons.
That's messed up.
Yeah, the flood pretty much is messed up. They kind of said, hey, what can zombies do? And let's try to make it a little more horrifying. But yeah, it's kind of nasty and it doesn't. It's implied that the transformation process isn't very pleasant. The third type is known as the combat form, where it's just pretty much a zombie, malformed zombie, just kind of arms and legs and just a person that's kind of deformed coming up and smacking you. Unfortunately, those guys carry guns, so that's kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. But I'm going to go ahead and go over the good points and the bad points of the game. The good points, the shooting mechanics are amazing. It is, even still, with this the anniversary collection edition, all they did was update the graphics on it, and it still plays amazingly. The next point is the lore of this game is fantastic. Everything is just so deep, even though it just goes around. You just go around shooting everything. You just feel that there's a story behind it all. It's not, hey, go over there, shoot everything. Why? Because you're told to go shoot everything. It's just, there's just so much lore in it. Oh, and one more thing, the music of this game is amazing. I love the Halo music. Now I'll go ahead and go over the bad points. Checkpoints are impolite. I don't know how the game decides to do a checkpoint, but the checkpoints, you don't rely on the checkpoints to get you through the game. The characters could stand a little bit more characterization. Yeah, they're just pretty much meat puppets walking around, shooting at things. And one other thing, it's what you think is as a really interesting, cool enemy, it just dissolves to a bunch of zombies. So that kind of feels underwhelming when you get to that. It's just, hey, look, zombies to shoot at. And unfortunately, that there's no real bad guy. They're just a bunch of groups of enemies to shoot at. Something else is kind of a strange argument, a strange complaint, that there is really deep lore. Unfortunately, it's not really in the game. They all wrote, there's books and books and books about this game, but what's in the game isn't really there. You know, it's alluded to, so it's great that there's a lot of background to this game, but you don't see it in the game. So I'll go ahead and give this a 3 out of 5. Although I'd still say, hey, if you love shooters, play this game, because damn, this is an amazing game. I think I should get a 4, but anyway, still, it's just, if you see, if there was more in the game, I'd give it a higher rating. But leaving the lore out of the game is kind of sad. But yeah, that's Halo Combat Evolved, one of the first shooters I ever got into. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day.